Wow, what a massive box. I'm Jeremy with Banana Hobby. What I got for you is the unboxing of the 1/6 JetRuler F-16 Fighting Falcon. We're going to do a time lapse real quick of the actual unboxing, and then we're going to set everything out on the table, and then we'll actually pull everything apart and discuss it for you. Again, I'm Jeremy with Banana Hobby, and thanks for watching. All right, guys, that was a quick time lapse of getting it out of the box. What we did is we ended up shifting the box to the side, slid everything out, and tried to get everything semi-organized on there and look for any kind of quick damage on there, which we did not find. This airplane is massive, if you have not seen, and we've got a lot of really neat armament to be able to show you guys too, which is pretty cool. So what we're going to do now, for the sake of it, we're again going to go into time lapse. We're going to get all this undone, laid out, semi-organized, and we may even pull out the landing gear. That way it's already done, so we can just continue to talk through on there. So again, time lapse away. All right, guys, welcome back from the time lapses. Sorry about that, but that's the only way to make a video short enough that you guys will enjoy it and not get too bored. So again, we got the first look on here and absolutely excited about this airplane. If you can't tell, I've got a great smile right now. It's awesome. So this is the next greatest thing for Banana Hobby and JetRuler. We are very excited to bring this to you guys. And again, like I mentioned before, this is the 1/6 F-16 Fighting Falcon. It is equivalent to a 2.6 meter fuselage, which is super cool. And it's going to have a wingspan of 65 inches with a length of 102 inches. So pretty neat on there. So what we're going to do is we're going to end up showing the airplane out. We're going to talk about it real quick, and then we're going to quickly assemble it so that you can see it at least together. We will have to time lapse it again for the actual assembly, just because we really don't want this that long. But that being said, let's move forward on there. Let's start with what we can get up close on there. The airplane comes all together for the most part. This is a plug-and-play airplane, so all your servos are installed, your lights are installed. But again, we mentioned this many, many times that when you get a plug-and-play airplane in the composite type series, you still have a few hobbyist things that you're going to have to do, like set up your gear and door controllers. You're going to have to connect up your light controller to the light configuration you want. You'll have to connect your brake controller. But all of that is super simple if you're at this level of piloting for these type of aircraft. So this airplane, we recommend, well, not we, the manufacturer recommends 160 Newton to a 240 Newton motor system in here. Pretty dang awesome. The fuel tanks that you're going to have in here is just about a half a gallon. That is equal to 2,100 milliliters or 150 milliliters around there. This one comes with a smoke tank system, and it is a 1,600 milliliter system in there. You're going to get painted landing gear that is all done by JP. Awesome electric landing gear. This airplane comes with a thrust vectoring kit. The airplane is also going to be with 11 servos for this airplane, with 4 of them that are mid-type servo. And the best thing about this airplane is it comes in the 18th Aggressor Squadron out of Eielson Air Force Base in their forest green Aggressor scheme. You've seen this on our 1/8 size. It absolutely is just a breathtaking airplane in person and in the air. It just sets the presence that is just right for an F-16 coming from an F-16 maintainer. I'm pretty excited about this one, and I cannot wait to get this in the air. This fuselage, it comes in a 2-part fuselage. As you can see, you got your aft section here, and then you got your forward section here. So there isn't a section in the back that you can separate or whatnot. This is all the one piece, and then here's the other piece. So you're going to have a connection, all your connections here, and then you've got three 3mm bolts that are right here on the fuselage, and then you got another 3 that are on the lower portion that will actually put this whole front section onto the airplane. Let's walk to the other side real quick, and we'll actually talk close on these flying surfaces. We really want to show them off because they're actually really, really nice. Let's start with the wings, since they're the biggest portion of this. All right, so what you've got is you've got your pinch type connections. You've got 2 connections here, so you got lights, and what do we also have on here? It looks like dual lights. Looks like it's only lights on here. Okay, so we're going to find out on that, but it looks like 2 lights on there, so a top and a bottom. That's what it looks like. If you look right here, you will see there is not a servo on this airplane's wing. Pretty cool? Well, we think so. So in here you have your slot and groove type system on there, and that allows for a smooth transition airplane, so you don't have any surfaces or arms or any of that hanging out on the airplane, so you're not going to break them inside transport. And that's because I hid this there for a minute just so you didn't see. That's because the fuselage itself has the aileron servo connection right here. This is where your servo's at. It's all within the fuselage. Same for your horizontal, and we'll get to that here in just a minute. We'll do a little bit more detail on that fuselage here, but we're going to make some room so we can do this. So beautiful scheme. Again, like I said, this is part of the 18th Aggressor Squadron out of Eielson. Beautiful scheme. I just want you guys to know that if you don't know how to fly a silhouette airplane, this is probably not your best scheme. I would go with like a Thunderbird or the Viper demo scheme in the red, white, and blue, the 50th anniversary. These are all going to be available in this airplane, so pretty cool on there. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside just to give us some room because we do have to deal with a big airplane on there. Okay, so we're going to slide that out. Again, you got another wing. Look at the detail on this thing. You've got panel lines that are all beautiful in there. All your rivet lines, your fuel access panels, your pylon access points, all that pretty dang awesome on there. Again, 2 connections on there. And again, super neat and detailed. Let's go to the vertical real quick. All right, here's the vertical. Check this thing out. Pretty excited about it. Both sides on there. What you're going to notice on here is that there is not a servo arm out on here too. So this entire airplane has servo arms that are within it, so you got a sleek airplane, less drag, and you're going to have better performance. And so this servo is actually down here in the bottom of the actual vertical. Pretty neat setup on there. And you have your anti-collision light on here. You even have your pencil light. Pretty cool. Nice detail. Beautiful. You even have something that I don't see much on these airplanes is you have your ESD dischargers spots right here on the back. So I would venture to say that you could probably figure out how to do some magnetic ESD dischargers and put them on there and take them out. So you got another light there in the back. Beautiful airplane. All right, here's your horizontals. And I need to make sure on the airplane real quick before I tell you that. But yes. Okay, so Here's your horizontals. Pretty nice setup on there. All you're going to do is slide them into the airplane and they're going to lock in place with this groove. You got a spring-loaded captive connection on there that will do all of that. So you got your left and your right side. You have the nice ESD electrostatic dischargers on the back. Pretty neat. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. So we're going to set them aside since they're a little smaller here. Another neat thing with this airplane is you don't see this that often is quick removal options for your ventrals. Usually F-16s get the ventrals damaged. And so what we've got here is some slide and capture type locking ventrals that you can take on and off for transport. Pretty nice little option. Sweet, great, grand, wonderful, right? Then you got your nose section. So the nose section is not attached. So the nose section has your pitot tube, you have your nose cone or the radome, and then you have your battery or flying deck section that'll be on the inside. I'm going to undo this real quick. There you go, there's your deck. What I like about this is the carbon fiber reinforced wood. This is something that JetRuler has been doing a fantastic job on. Absolutely superb and great craftsmanship and workmanship that they've been doing on these airplanes. Pretty neat, nice setup on there. So we'll get this installed here in just a minute too. Get this out of the way. Set that down there. All right, guys, so we're to the fuselage now. I actually am going to kind of roll this a little bit out here so that we can show this off a little bit. Little dude, if you could help me real quick, grab that stand. We're going to actually put this airplane on the side so that people can see this. Actually, I'm going to back up real quick with this. Put it right there in the middle. So that we can show this way. All right, can you come over here and hold this airplane? I'm going to grab the camera. It's going to try and rotate on you. All right, guys. So what we got for you is the actual motor bay. There you go. This is what you guys get. You guys get a great view. All right, so we got our pre-installed thrust tube in there. You've got your landing gear. You've got your smoke tank. You got your fuel tanks both sides. And then if you have the right option on there, you'll actually get a smoke tube with it too. There inside, we're going to get in here. You can see inside, you can see the thrust vectoring servo mount areas. So they are within there. We're going to come around here. Again, I said this version has thrust vectoring in there, and there you go. You got your nice tail section there, pretty beautiful. You also have an afterburner ring around there. What I really like is the detail on this nozzle. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. Up here, again, like I said, we've got that connection there where your servo goes in. Now we're going to look over here. We're going to show you this. Sorry, got to move around. I'm running into things. I want you guys to see this. So this is your quick connects, but this is something you don't see much on airplanes, is you have your intake and your exhaust of the jet fuel starter, the JFS. You have no idea how many cold days and nights that the JFS saved me from freezing. Pretty dang awesome that they took the time to do that in the details. All right, so we got the landing gear now. Look at how robust that landing gear is. You got shocks in the right spot. You got lights up there if you were to do the Block 30 version. You got, I mean, Absolutely just amazing landing gear. This is the same type of gear that is in the 1/5 size that's out there. You got your pre-installed JP servos for your doors. Absolutely beautiful. And I keep saying absolutely, I apologize, but that's just my word that I use. All right, so we got the landing gear here. Here, look at this nose gear. Great movement on there, some good shocks, good mounting, great looking setup in there. Nice nose landing gear door light. Here's your vents for your smoke and your 2 saddle tanks. Look at this paint job. Looks like there's one mount right there for tightening up on your screws. I think the other one is on the top. But yeah, there you go. Beautiful, beautiful looking job. All right, so let's go around and get this thing back up in the air. See if there's anything else. Oh, here's the vertical. Here's how the vertical goes. The vertical's got the pinch type connections. 3 connections for your lights and your rudder. Back over here again, we're going to show you that tank system. You got your smoke pump, your loomed up stuff all right there. All right, bring this back. All right, let's get this airplane back on its wheels. I'm up. By the way, this is our brand new banana hobby stand that is not out yet. Pretty awesome. All right, little dude, if you can make sure that I'm in the right screen over here, I'm going to start grabbing the top or the front section. We're going to start looking at that. I have no idea what that is. Oh, I just learned something pretty cool. All right, so while I was back here daydreaming and drooling, we have the F-16 right here. Something different between this and the other ones is that the other ones, the whole cockpit comes out and all that. This has a front opening cockpit on there. And so what I just learned, and I'm in frame, right? All right, we're good right there. Is that this has a pull knob underneath the front of the nose for the cockpit to be able to raise. Look at that, guys. So now you can figure out how to manipulate something to hold that up, but now the cockpit is able to be a raised cockpit. And then you've got your absolutely astounding looking cockpit. Once I can get it out of here, I may need a little dude to help me hold that cockpit up. Because I somehow got that twisted. And we'll talk about that in just a second. All right, make sure I'm in the frame so that people can see. So we're all seeing this for the first time, guys, together. So you got your landing gear and retract controller, your brake and gear controller. You have your light controller, you have your UAT, and you have your carbon fiber deck system inside there. So absolutely beautiful. They did not spare anything on that, but look at that cockpit. I'm so excited for that. We might need to figure out a gas shock, something that we can just push down and then it'll automatically raise up. Kind of neat. Anyway, so back to the back side of here, like I said, showing you had your 3 connections here, and then you got your 3 on the bottom for it to connect up in there. Lots of space. Pretty dang cool. Your gun panel looks beautiful. They did a great job. Great job. All right, so let's set this back down here. Look at that cockpit. I need to make sure nothing's going to fall out. Since this is the first time seeing it. Look at how beautiful that is. You can tell that, right, little dude? Is that viewed in nice? Look at how amazing that cockpit looks. Let's get in closer. Let's take a closer look. You've got scale panel lines, scale panels. You've got landing gear door sequence, or not door sequence. You got your landing gear panels here, your HSDs. You got your AMIs. You got your panels everywhere. I mean, if you cannot think that that is great, I don't know what to tell you. But that's pretty dang awesome. Good old fighter pilot on there. We need to get some patches on his shoulders, huh? Wow. Impressive, impressive. You even got your LOX bottle here, your O2 bottle. I used to fill these at Ellsworth Air Force Base. Kind of cool. So, all right, so we've shown that now. Now I think what we need to do is we need to do a quick time lapse. Let's get this assembled real quick, the airplane together, and then we'll talk about the armament as a whole nother section. That way you guys don't have to wait in case you don't care about the armament or whatnot. So again, what we'll do is we'll pause X, we'll fast forward through this time lapse, and then we'll be right back with a fully assembled airplane. Simple assembled is what I'll say. Not fully assembled, but together enough to where you can see this airplane, and then we'll talk about the armament. So again, fast forward. All right, I apologize. That was a very long time lapse. So we're probably going to cut a little bit out of that just because it took a little bit in there. We had a couple of little random complications in regards to getting these screws here. It took a little bit of a longer option than we were ready for. So we had to get tools and go for there. So we're going to probably cut out a little bit in there. But the airplane, look at how beautiful this is. I don't want to detract from that by talking about the time lapse, but look how amazing this jet looks. Absolutely beautiful. The forest green Aggressor scheme on here is just beautiful. I cannot wait to do a little bit of weathering on this airplane to get it looking like it actually should. I've spent so many hours and hours and days on top of this airplane for my squadron that I was part of. Just seeing the panel lines and how just detailed this thing looks brings back a lot of memories on there. So can't wait for you guys to get these airplanes because you're going to probably have the same feelings that I have of emotions. It's pretty cool. So we got everything in there. Like I said, it took a little bit longer on there. What I recommend you do is you get a handheld drill with about 4 extensions on there and then a 3mm driver on there just to be able to reach those back cornered areas in there and make it a little easier. So it took us a little bit to figure that out, but we pass that on to you guys. And again, that's why we have this airplane, is to be able to find the things that you need to know to help you with your airplane. So again, we're trying to decide which motor we want to go with this airplane. It is recommended, again, like I've said before, that it needs at least a, what was it? It was a 170, I was trying to remember. No, it was a 160 to 240 Newton motor. So I forgot about what it was. Sorry, it's been a long night. Great airplane. Again, this is a 65-inch airplane with 103 inches in wingspan, or in nose to tail. That's including the pitot tube, just so you guys know. The estimated weight of this airplane is about 30 pounds empty. So once you add that half gallon of weight on there, depending on whether you're using diesel or Jet A or kerosene, that'll change a little bit on there too. So a little more than 30 pounds. Man, I'm just in awe with how beautiful this airplane is. So again, there you go. This is available at bananahobby.com. Now let's take a second and let's show you some of the options on this airplane. So here we go. We're going to rotate this airplane around just to get it out of the way so we can talk about the quick armament on there. Pretty cool. Actually, no, let's rotate this real quick. We got to give another 360 on here. This is the beautiful. Look at that. The detailed markings. I mean, they killed it. They killed it. Absolutely beautiful. So, beautiful scheme. All right. Now that I got tape on my foot. All right. Put this over here. Get it out of the way a little bit. We still want to show it. And hit it. All right. There we go. Now we're out of the way there. So, all right, guys. Little dude, make sure that we're in the right frame. So what we've got, guys, is we've got an armament kit that you can purchase with this airplane. And so it comes, and we'll start off with the first things first. It comes with a fuel tank with a pylon, so you don't have to fly with the fuel tank, but you can put the pylon on. So we normally fly with a pylon majority of the time, which is super cool. But if you can't tell, I'm a pretty wide guy. This is a big fuel tank here, so absolutely cool. So we're going to put that there. We're going to do a whole stores thing on there. You've got your stations that we put on the outside here. So these are your missile rails on the outside of the wingtip. They can accommodate, right now they're designed for the AIM-9X. So we've actually taken the AIM-9X, and we're going to try and reconfigure this a little bit so that it has the option of putting the 120s on the wingtip, because that's what actually should be on there, is the 120s. So absolutely cool on there. We're going to go and we're going to show you the details on those. We'll put them up here a little bit. Then you got the weapon station. I can't remember what this is, but I think it's a Lao 12 launcher, and that's got a JDAM on there. Neat looking weapon system on there. Super cool. And again, you don't have to fly with the JDAM. You can take it off of the pylon and fly it with just the pylon. So pretty dang cool on there. So we'll pop that right there. Then you've got the wing tanks. And look at how massive this is. It's got details on it that are just, I can't say this, I'm in awe. I mean, you've got your, fuel ports here, so you can actually refuel, whatever. But again, this is, brings back a lot of good memories of back in the Air Force. Pretty cool on there. So, super neat, super cool. So we're going to actually put that right there. We're going to make a loadout over here on the side. And then let's put that fuel tank up close to it. Give it a nice, cool loadout look. And again, like I said, we had the AIM-9 rail, but this one had the 120 on it. And so you got your 120 connection there. And so that would actually go here if you're choosing to do it with the 120 on the pylon there. We didn't really see 120s on that lower station much. We always saw them on the wingtips. We always put AIM-9s on there, so pretty cool. So again, we got the details on there, and then the wingtip with the AIM-9X on there. Putting the left one on the right one. Anyway, screws are in there. All right, so let's walk up close so you guys can see this detail. We'll get up nice and neat. All right, so take a look at that. look at the detail on there. Pretty dang nifty. Super cool. That's the AIM 9X. Check out this 120. Super cool detail. All on there. Blue stripes mean training. There's your pylon. Take a look at that. Pretty neat. Fuel tank. We'll have to bring it all the way through like a shark going through the screen. Pretty cool on there. And just so you guys know, we never, ever, ever flew with a pylon without the tank unless we jettisoned the tank. That's the only time we ever did. So. And then the last with the JDAM. Pretty neat details all around. Yes, he's at a little bit of weight, just so you guys know. So plan on, if you're going to be wanting the weapons, you're going to need an extra motor on there, a little bit stronger. So again, let's see, then you got a couple of other things in here. You got your Y connections, you got some Banana Hobby stickers, you got the top aft transparency cover that goes there. But yeah, there we go. I mean, we've got one of the coolest jets out. We've got some armament that's super cool. You've got, you know, a great setup in there. Again, this is the first of our 1/6 F-16 airplanes that we've got here. We're going to run it through the ringer. We're going to get you guys some good media. We're going to give you guys some good pointers. So again, if you have any questions about this airplane or you want to pre-order this airplane, hit us up at sales@bananahobby.com. Or you can contact us at any time through Banana Hobby, and we'll be able to direct you to where you need. But again, if you want to pre-order this airplane, get a hold of us. Again, I'm Jeremy with Banana Hobby. Little dude behind the screen helping me out. Without his help, we couldn't have got all this done. But again, thank you guys for watching. Appreciate your time. Catch more from us from bananahobby.com.